Only two quarterbacks in NFL history have led teams to back-to-back 14-win seasons: Tom Brady and Sam Darnold. Drafted third overall at just 21 years old, he was dropped into a Jets franchise that had been broken longer than he'd been alive. Bad protection, rotating coaches, constant chaos. Then came the turnovers, the primetime meltdowns, and one moment that followed him everywhere: seeing ghosts. From that second on, the league made its decision. Sam Darnold was not a franchise quarterback. In a draft class that produced MVPs and franchise cornerstones, Darnold became the cautionary tale, until Minnesota. After J.J. McCarthy got hurt, Darnold took the keys and shocked the entire NFL. A career year. Statement wins. But one playoff loss later, the old narrative rushed right back. The Vikings moved on. Most quarterbacks disappear after that. Sam Darnold went to Seattle, got another shot, and flipped his entire career upside down. From being written off in New York, to struggling in Carolina, to sitting the bench in San Francisco, to becoming the first quarterback from the 2018 draft class to start in a Super Bowl. And then win it. This is the greatest comeback story in NFL history. Before football ever doubted Sam Darnold, it should have looked at his family tree. His grandfather was Dick Hammer, a man who lived 5 elite athletic lives in one. He played on USC's 1954 Final Four basketball team. He competed in the 1964 Olympics as a volleyball player. He held javelin and decathlon records at Fullerton Junior College. He became a firefighter, eventually fire captain at Universal Studios, and somewhere in between, he starred as the Marlboro Man. That was the Darnold family legacy. At San Clemente High School, Sam was an athlete before he was a quarterback. He played baseball, basketball, and football. Basketball might have been his best sport, named South Coast League MVP twice, with his coach saying he could have played Pac-12 college basketball. On the football field, Sam initially played wide receiver and linebacker. As a sophomore, when the starter got hurt mid-game, he stepped in, threw a touchdown, and ran in the game-winning two-point conversion. Once he took over, the production came fast. He broke the school record for touchdowns in a game, throwing 5 twice. 4-star recruit, 8th best dual-threat quarterback in this class. He committed to USC. But even there, doubt followed him. USC's defensive coordinator initially wanted him to play linebacker. He redshirted behind Cody Kessler and Max Brown. Entering 2016, he was still the backup. After USC started 1-2, the staff made the switch. In his first career start against Utah, Darnold threw for 253 yards, rushed for a touchdown, and nearly pulled off a comeback. USC didn't lose another game that season. With Darnold starting, the Trojans averaged 37 points and 518 yards per game. He threw for 3,086 yards, 31 total touchdowns, and posted a 161.1 passer rating, the highest ever by a USC freshman. He broke Todd Marinovich's freshman touchdown record, became the first USC quarterback to throw 5 touchdowns in consecutive games, rushed for 250 yards, the most by a USC QB in over 2 decades, and in the Rose Bowl, USC's first in 8 years, he delivered 453 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, and 473 total yards, all Rose Bowl records. He won Pac-12 Freshman Offensive Player of the Year and the Archie Griffin Award as college football's most valuable player to his team, something no freshman had ever won. Entering 2017, Darnold was a Heisman favorite and a top 5 prospect, but through 6 games, he had already matched his interception total from the entire previous season. He finished the year with 13 picks, throwing 20 interceptions across his last 20 games. While the wins kept coming, so did the scrutiny. By draft night, he was seen as a quarterback with franchise upside, but very little room to be wrong. And once that room disappeared, the real story began. The 2018 QB draft class was loaded. Baker Mayfield, the Heisman winner. Josh Allen, the 6'5" cannon arm freak. Josh Rosen, polished mechanics, most NFL-ready passer. Lamar Jackson, 50-plus touchdowns his final season, still questioned for how much he ran. And right in the middle of all of it, Sam Darnold, the youngest quarterback in the class at barely 21 years old. On draft night, picks fell fast. Cleveland bet on confidence. Buffalo bet on tools. Arizona chose readiness. Baltimore waited for value. And then the Jets stepped up. The Jets traded up from 6 to 3, sending 3 second-round picks. That move alone told the story. New York hadn't drafted a quarterback that high since 1996. They hadn't developed a real answer in decades. In 2017, they ranked near the bottom of the league in scoring, explosive plays, and quarterback production. There was no easing Darnold in. Week 1, Monday Night Football, on the road in Detroit. Darnold, at 21, the youngest opening day starting quarterback since the AFL-NFL merger. He dropped back on his first pass and threw a pick 6. Every concern felt instantly validated. And then something strange happened. He shook it off. He came right back attacking the field. By halftime, the Jets had control. Final score, 48-17. Darnold finished with 198 yards and 2 touchdowns in a blowout road win. That night was the high point of stability, because once the season settled in, reality hit hard. Against Minnesota, 4 turnovers. Against Miami, 4 interceptions in one game. The Jets lost 6 straight at one point.
Darnold took hits no 21-year-old should take. He battled a foot injury, and when things went wrong, the blame landed entirely on him. By year's end, 2,865 yards, 17 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. Not a failure, but definitely not a breakthrough.
Heading into 2019, the Jets' offensive line ranked near the bottom in pressure rate allowed. Week 1 against Buffalo, the Jets led 16-0 and still lost 17-16 as the offense completely stalled. Then Darnold was diagnosed with mononucleosis and missed 3 games. When he returned in Week 6 against Dallas, no easing back in. He responded with 338 yards, a 92-yard touchdown pass, and a 24-22 win. AFC Offensive Player of the Week. Momentum returned for a moment. The very next week, Monday Night Football against New England, the pocket collapsed all night. Reed sped up, windows slammed shut, down 24-0 at halftime. And in that moment, caught on a live microphone, Darnold said it out loud, "Seeing ghosts." Final line, 11 of 32, 86 yards, 4 interceptions, 1 lost fumble, 33-0. The Jets managed just 154 total yards. By 2020, patience was gone. Darnold battled through more turnovers, more pressure, more injuries. A shoulder problem cost him multiple games. In 12 starts, he was sacked 23 times. 9 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. The Jets finished 2-14. By the time the season ended, it didn't feel like a bad year closing. It felt like an era ending.
Carolina sent a 6th-round pick immediately, plus a 2nd and 4th the next year for a 23-year-old former 3rd overall pick. This could have been the fresh start Darnold needed. The Panthers had a real defense. Christian McCaffrey was back, DJ Moore coming off 1,200 yards, and Robbie Anderson, the one receiver Darnold had consistently connected with, was already in the building. Before he played a snap, Carolina exercised his 5th-year option at nearly $19 million guaranteed. The message was clear: you're here to lead. The first 3 weeks, the Panthers went 3-0. Darnold threw for over 300 yards twice, accounted for 7 total touchdowns, and posted his best passer rating stretch since his rookie year. Then the margins disappeared. The offensive line started leaking pressure. Defenses adjusted. When McCaffrey went down again, everything unraveled. Turnovers crept back in. Carolina lost 7 of 8. Then came a fractured scapula that cost him over a month. And when he returned, the job wasn't waiting. In 2022, Carolina brought in Baker Mayfield. Darnold lost the preseason battle, then suffered a high ankle sprain before Week 1. When he returned in November, the head coach had already been fired. Across 6 starts, he went 4-2, with 7 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, the best interception rate of his career. But the league's verdict had hardened. Former top pick, nothing more than a bust.
In 2023, Darnold landed in San Francisco. For the first time in his career, he was inside an elite organization, learning under Kyle Shanahan, watching how a real offense operated. He beat out Trey Lance, another former 3rd overall pick, for the backup role. In the regular season finale against the Rams with starters resting, he threw for 189 yards and a touchdown. Efficient, calm. He spent the whole year around a winning culture, backing up Brock Purdy, preparing for playoff games. He later called it a valuable learning experience that reshaped how he saw the game. It wasn't a comeback season, it was the foundation of one, and almost nobody noticed. The Vikings entered 2024 at a crossroads. Kirk Cousins was gone. They drafted J.J. McCarthy as the future, but needed a bridge. They signed Darnold to a 1-year, $10 million deal. Low risk, barely noticed. Then McCarthy suffered a season-ending knee injury in the preseason. Overnight, Darnold wasn't a bridge anymore. He was the starter. In his Vikings debut, he completed 19 of 24 passes. Efficient, not reckless. Over his first 4 games, 932 yards, 11 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. League best passer rating. By December, Minnesota had quietly built one of the best records in football. 14 wins, a top offense, 7 Pro Bowlers, 3 All-Pros. Darnold had career highs across the board: 4,319 yards, 35 touchdowns, a passer rating over 100, and his first Pro Bowl. Then came the wild card against the Rams. Everything unraveled. 9 sacks, 82 yards lost, a turnover returned for a touchdown that flipped the game. A 14-win team eliminated in one night. The doubts came rushing back. And the Vikings made their decision.
3 years, $105.5 million, structured so Seattle could walk away after 1 season if needed. This wasn't a roster clinging to the past. Geno Smith was gone. Tyler Lockett was gone. DK Metcalf was gone. Seattle had a defense built to shorten games, a strong run game, and a receiving room built on timing. Jackson Smith-Njigba became the focal point, with Cooper Kupp and Rashid Shaheed behind him. By the bye week, Seattle was 5-2. Then came the night that snapped heads around the league. Week 9 against Washington in primetime.
Darnold went 13 for 13 in the first half, 4 touchdowns, 0 incompletions, something no quarterback had done in a half since 2015. By November, Seattle wasn't quietly winning anymore. They were controlling games. Even the losses revealed something new. When Darnold threw 4 interceptions against the Rams in Week 11, Seattle still had a chance to win on the final kick. The team didn't fold. By December, they shut out Minnesota for the first time in a decade, pulled off the most improbable comeback in franchise history, down 15 in the fourth quarter against the Rams, winning in overtime on a 2-point conversion, the first team to ever do it under the new rules. In Week 18 at Levi Stadium, Seattle beat San Francisco 13-3, holding the 49ers to 173 total yards, the fewest of the Shanahan era. That win secured the NFC West, the #1 seed, and a franchise record 14th regular season win.
Darnold had now done something only Tom Brady had done before, led teams to back-to-back 14-win seasons. But then came the postseason, the place where Sam Darnold was supposed to struggle. The divisional round at home against San Francisco. Before the opening kickoff even settled, Rashid Shaheed returned it for a touchdown. Lumen Field erupted. The tone was set in seconds. 6 San Francisco turnovers. Every quarter ended with Seattle points. Darnold completed 12 of 17 passes, threw a touchdown, and never gave the 49ers a window back. Final score, 41-6. Seattle's first playoff win since 2019, their first NFC Championship appearance since 2014, and Darnold's first playoff win. 1 week later, the Rams came to Seattle, the same team Darnold had thrown 4 interceptions against earlier in the year, his supposed kryptonite. Darnold answered with the best game of his career. 346 yards, 25 of 36 completions, 3 touchdowns, 7 different receivers. And as the fourth quarter wound down, something that had followed Darnold his entire career finally lost its grip. He didn't flinch, he didn't shrink. 31-27, Seattle's first NFC Championship since 2014, and Darnold's first trip to the Super Bowl, the first quarterback from the 2018 draft class to get there.
Super Bowl 60, Levi Stadium, February 8th, 2026. Standing across from him, the New England Patriots, the same franchise tied forever to the lowest point of his career, the team that turned seeing ghosts into a national punchline. Darnold wasn't a 22-year-old behind a collapsing Jets line anymore. He was the starting quarterback of a 14-3 Seahawks team, the NFC's top seed. Seattle stalled early, settling for field goals. Halftime, 9-0. Strange, tense, not pretty. But the defense smothered Drake May with 6 sacks. Then, early in the fourth quarter, with a short field, Darnold fired a 16-yard touchdown to A.J. Barner, 19-0. Seattle's defense slammed the door from there. Interceptions, another field goal, a late pick 6. Final score, Seahawks 29, Patriots 13. From being benched and traded, from being labeled a bust, from seeing ghosts, to standing on the podium as a Super Bowl champion. Now, for the first time, no one is asking whether Sam Darnold belongs. They're waiting to see what he does next.